Hello, my name is Malika, and the purpose of this video is to inform my audience of different reading strategies that are necessary in order to improve your reading skills, as well as to show my professor what I've learned in the course of 8 weeks in this Reading 100 class. My audience would be my teacher. In this video, I will demonstrate my understanding of the strategies presented within this course. I will discuss what I bring to reading, as well as before and after and during reading strategies that I will use to comprehend college reading materials. First, we'll begin with memory. With memory, we have short-term memory and a long-term memory. Go.
Mom, what did you say again? 3 plus 3 is 6.
Things that in your short-term memory can only hold 47 pieces of information. And next we have long-term memory. Long-term memory is anything that is stored in your memory that for a long length of time, that you've maybe rehearsed it, or you maybe seen it before, and it's longer than 30 seconds. So anything longer than 30 seconds can be stored into your long-term memory. And so, review what you want to stay in your long-term memory. There are many strategies that you can use to help you remember something important. For example, one of those strategies will be repeating something over and over, or even writing something down. The next strategy that we are going to be talking about today is multiple intelligence. Multiple intelligence is a theory developed by a man named Howard Gardner, which states that all human beings have a number of independent intelligences that will allow them to be strong in some areas and weak in others. That said, there are 8 types of multiple intelligences. One of them will be verbal. Verbal intelligence means that I'm good at poems, very true. I'm good at reading and writing.
What's going on there? Who's banging? What do you want? Cried the Welshman. Let me in. Quick! I'll tell everything. Why? Who are you? Huckleberry Finn.
The second one will be interpersonal. This means that I'm aware of others' feelings and can understand their emotions. There are many more. However, like I said, for the sake of this video, I'm only going to list those.
I'm hurting. Oh, I'm sorry.
A few more things to remember about multiple intelligences. One is that they are dependent. One multiple intelligence does not strengthen or weaken another multiple intelligence. Also, these are not senses like eyes, like the see, the smell, the taste, the hear, the smell. No. These are intelligences, are things that we are talking about are within the brain. The next strategy that we'll be talking about is going to be active and passive reading. In order to actively read, you can do a lot of different things to help you, as far as highlighting, annotating, reading out loud, explaining what you've read when you've read something out loud, or even if you've read something to yourself, and then test yourself by writing down key points.
Things were looking very bad for the Muff Potter. At the end of the second day, the talk was that Injun Joe's story about the killing would bring a guilty verdict from the jury very next day.
And what do you understand from that?
I learned that in the story, Tom Sawyer is a witness for a case against Muff Potter.
Good job.
However, when you passively read, a passive reader just reads with no understanding. You have absolutely no clue what you've just read. You don't ask questions. You don't remember key details. And so what you're reading, it doesn't seem to register inside of your head like, oh, yeah.
The time I was playing with my toy truck, it had a mud. And the time I spun the wheels, someone got in the tub.
What did you just read, Emery?
I don't know.
And the last thing that we're going to talk about for you as the reader and what you can bring to reading is your study skills. There are 10 strategies that we talked about. One of them is setting goals. I find this to be very true, especially because I took the college success course, and that was one of the things that really, even now to this day, helps me to be able to continue in my studies. The next one, number 2, is going to be managing your time. If you don't give yourself some type of schedule, you're going to be all over the place. So you're not going to have time for your studies, and you're not going to have time for your friends. And so managing your time is also a very important skill to have. Living smart. At first I thought that when the college success course that we started talking about financially, being stable and stuff like that, I was like, well, that doesn't really seem like it's, that important. However, living smart, you're not just managing your time, you're also managing your money and how it's spent, and, where time goes, and just being smart about the decisions that you make as a college student. And so asking for help. I don't know about you guys, but that is one thing that is very hard for me to do. And even till this day, with college courses and success college course classes and all that, I still find it very hard to ask people for help. 5 would be to take notes. I'm still practicing this, just because sometimes I don't even understand my own notes. So it's really hard to take notes and then understand what I wrote at. Another thing would be number 6 is don't cram. Don't cram. And then give yourself a week or two to study, prepare, and number 7, have a computer backup plan. I haven't had this problem happen to me. However, I think that is actually very smart to make sure that you have a backup plan in case what the technology that you are using to study on seems to fall short. Number 8, attend orientation. I don't think nowadays that there is a way for you not to attend orientation. I think that it should be a requirement, just so that you know what you're getting yourself into, and then you give yourself time to figure out whether or not what you're about to step into is something that is what you really want to step into. And then last but not least, take college success course. I advise everyone who's watching this video, or anyone who's watching this video, if you're going to college or thinking about going to college, take the college success course. If the teacher is as good as mine was, woo, Mr. John, yo, 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 shout out to Mr. John. If your college success course teacher is as good as ours was for the Rio Salado ACE program, you will be highly, 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 highly lucky. I truly believe that this course really kind of set my foot on the ground and helped me to make the decision whether or not I wanted to continue as a student. The next strategy that we are going to go on to is your pre-reading. The first thing that we're going to talk about is previewing text. Previewing text helps you to connect knowledge to what you're going to read. If you want to preview your text, you need to look at the titles, headings, pictures, vocabs, and as well as the questions. I think that was most of the things that we talked about in the classes. The next strategy that we're going to talk about is lexicals. In this course, we didn't talk too much about it, but the definition that they gave us was it being a form of measurement that compares someone's reading ability to the difficulty of a particular text. And I guess I can take from that, it's kind of like being able to tell, measuring, I can say like your reading level, That's basically where I took from that anyways. The next reading strategy is going to be having a purpose when you are reading. Unfortunately, we can't just read for fun. I'm just kidding. No, but even if you're reading for fun, you're reading for fun. That is the purpose of you reading. And so when you read, it's good to have a reason for reading so that you can stay captivated in what you're reading, and you won't kind of like lose the feeling of wanting to read. They go hand in hand. After reading strategies. The first one that I'm going to mention is annotating text. Annotating text is just a way of making notes. It's a way that you take kind of taking notes in the text. This could be information, it could be questions, or anything that you find interesting from the text that you're reading. Annotating makes it easy to find important information quickly when you're reviewing. It gives you a way to sort of engage in what you're reading with text, and by asking questions or making comments in the text. The next one that we're going to talk about is Cornell notes. They are I think for beginners. If you're not good at note taking, or maybe you don't really understand how to put all the notes together once you've taken all your notes, they can be good for those sorts of people who may be new at note taking. Note taking is a skill that people can use to achieve a successful study habits. So if you're not successful in studying in college, then yes, Cornell Notes would be best for you because it will help you obtain a habit out of it. And then when you're reading that way and starting to take notes, it'll kind of like be an easy flow, if you'll say, to just be able to take your notes and then summarize them to show your understanding. Test taking is a part of academic life. It is something they use to help assess the understanding of what we've learned, whether it's in a course for school or whether you got to go to work and you're learning something in work. They need to know that you understand what you just learned. So, there are strategies that you can use to help you become a better test taker. Number one, cramming doesn't work. Number two, the more you do with the information, the more likely you'll be able to recall that information later on. That's back to memory when we talked about storing things in your long-term memory. Also, set up a study schedule for your tests. So, set up a day of the week that you're going to set aside time to study for whatever particular test that you have that's coming up. So that way you're giving yourself enough time to Put those things in your long-term memory, store them there so that you can be able to retain them, and then come time for test take day, you are ready to go. And last but not least, review your notes, which just kind of go hand in hand in the setting your study schedule, because if you set your study schedule, then of course you're reviewing your notes. So, the next part that we're going to talk about on this video is your during reading strategies. There are 6 of them, and this is what they are. The first one, your topic or your central point will always be general. It's usually about 1 or 2 sentences, or 1 or 2 words. It's not really like a long sentence, And one way to help you determine what the central point is, what the topic is by looking at people, events, or ideas that are repeated in the paragraph. Main idea will be the basic, the general idea of the paragraph. Usually it's only 1 sentence, and sometimes the main idea will not be stated. The word they used was implied. So it won't be stated in the paragraph. It would rather than be implied that this is the next strategy that you can use during reading is going to be supporting details. Supporting details will be the most specific dates, statistics, descriptions, etc. Patterns of organization is going to be the next strategy. Patterns of organization, they help organize what you're reading so that you can understand what you're reading. However, in this course, we only learned about 5. That was definition, chronological order, compare and contrast, and cause and effect. Definition. I'll give you the definition of definition. Definition is how authors explain difficult or content vocabulary. Usually, definition is a short phrase sentence. An author will often use commas, dashes, parentheses, or colons to indicate that they are giving a definition. And a few signal words that you can take or that you can look for will be, for example, for instance, that is, and such as. The next one we learned about was chronological order. Chronological order refers to the order of sequence of time. Okay, so the most common signal words that you will see are first, second, third, next, and last. And again, this is sequence of time. So the next one is going to be listing. Okay, listing is similar to chronological order. With chronological order, when it comes to like siblings and whether what years they were born, that order matters because of the fact that it states who is older and who is the youngest. Whereas listing, it doesn't matter how you put the information in, it's just about making sure that all that information is written down in a list form. The next is going to be comparing and contrast. Compare and contrast shows ideas alike or how they're different from each other. When an author is using both similarities and difference, a combination occurs, and that is called compare and contrast. But the next thing that we're going to talk about is vocabulary. I actually really enjoyed this topic. I don't know, I like discovering new words. But vocabulary is one of the most valuable resources we have as college students. College students that have a large vocabulary can gain knowledge more efficiently than those who have a limited vocabulary. And so you can use context clues to help you understand unfamiliar words. So context clues are when you have to look at the unfamiliar word. You look at the unfamiliar word, and then you look at the words around those. And it's most likely going to be maybe the word after, or it may be the word before that unfamiliar word is going to be. So looking at the words that surround that unfamiliar word is going to help you determine the meaning of that word. And lastly, we have the critical thinking. Critical thinking is all about reading in between the lines. We use author's tone. Author's tone and bias helps us determine what the author is trying to say in the reading. An author's tone is looking at the choice of word that the author uses in the story, to understand what the author is feeling. That way you can be able to kind of see in difference what the author's attitude is towards the story through the author's choice of words. So you basically would ask yourself a few questions to help you maybe understand what the author is saying. You could ask, is the author presenting facts without opinions? Does the author use loaded words, like words that kind of like create a more visualized image or express emotions? Another question that you could ask is, does the author use faulty reasoning, like made up stuff, or just something that doesn't even sound realistic, or it's just sounding like ridiculous? There are some transition words that can also show tone, and they can help you, see the author's tone and visualize it a little bit better. So you have the positive tone, which would be like words like admiring, cheerful, joyful, those happy kind of words, positive words. And then you'll see like neutral tone, which will be like words that are just kind of like you can use them anywhere in any sentence, and you're not really gonna, it's like, yay or nay. So you'll see words like unconcerned or questioning. And then there's the negative words. You're gonna use angry, mean, disgusting, horrible. Next topic we're gonna talk about is bias and persuasive words. Bias is a disposition that you might have about something. Or not, this person is biased, or is he trying to like persuade me into thinking something totally different? I gave things to remember about bias. Bias is being partial towards a particular viewpoint. Thank you so much, Miss Sally, for the time that you've given me to present this course and all the studies, the things that I've learned in this course, all the notes taking that I've gotten from this course. I got to use them in this video, and I greatly appreciate you for allowing me to do so. I hope this video is at least half of what you expected, if not more. Again, this is Malika Shadrack, signing off.